Hey everyone, today we will be taking a look at the Yuxin Little Magic V2, the follow-up to one of the most popular and successful budget cubes on the market. So the YLM V2 is a $10 magnetic speed cube that measures 55.5 millimeters across, weighs in at 78 grams, and has glossy plastic. It features a dual adjustment tensioning system that you can adjust with this handy tool. And there are 12 compression settings, so you can really fine-tune the compression to get it feeling just how you want. So taking a look at the pieces, you'll notice the unique brick-style texturing on the edges and corners. When comparing the pieces to the version 1, you can see how the V2 edge has a shorter and wider base, and lacks the ridged design of the V1. The V2 corners also have a wider, shorter stock. This design gives the YLM V2 a larger internal radius. You'll notice the centers also have a squared off base for added stability and are fully colored, unlike the V1 centers, which just have colored caps. The V2 pieces are further simplified by doing away with the separated torpedo and corner stock design and just using a split piece design. So the YLM V2 features crisp, clacky turning that is very quick and responsive, and also very loud. We'll give you a chance to hear how the cube sounds. So as you can hear, the cube produces a lot of noise, so this might be something to keep in mind if you want a cube without bothering others. The cube has good corner cutting, but the cuts feel quite harsh and forced. This can cause problems for cubers with a more aggressive turning style, as you'll likely find this cube is a bit unforgiving. The stability of the cube is just average. I find that it tends to flop around quite a bit, which leads to some catching, and these lockups feel primarily internal, like the squared off center is kind of catching on the other pieces. Most of the time you can push through these catches, but when you do, it creates a really loud, unpleasant clicking sound, which doesn't feel very nice. Maybe a different center design or some stronger magnets would have helped. We also noticed that corner twisting can be a problem on looser settings. Once the cube is lubed and tensioned properly, it performs quite nicely, but out of the box, the cube is totally dry and underwhelming. While some cubers may not find this a problem and will just set up the cube themselves, it brings up an interesting question. Should manufacturers focus more on their out-of-box performance? Well, we think this would be a good idea, since this being a budget cube, it's primarily going to be marketed towards more beginner to intermediate cubers, who are far less likely to spend time and money setting up their cubes. This means they will judge the cube based solely off of its out-of-the-box performance, and for many this could be their first speed cube, and requiring them to either buy lubricants and learn how to lube, or spend more money on a premium version of the cube kind of negates some of the benefit of the cube being $10. And this also affects the marketability of the product, since it's hard to recommend a cube to beginners that you have to spend a lot of time and effort setting up for it to be any good. You could instead just tell them to buy an RS3M, which has a usable setup out of the box. A few years ago, if we were asked what cube to buy that was cheap, reliable, and an all-around just like a good buy, the Yuxin Little Magic was like the safest pick. It was a huge deal in the cubing community for a $5 3x3 to be as good as the YLM was. And while the Little Magic V2 is certainly not a bad cube, it just has much more average performance and doesn't feel as special as the V1. This cube also just has so much more competition to deal with, as a cube like the RS3M is pretty hard to beat. However, being around the same price as the RS3M, it is a great alternative. It does have some features that the RS3M doesn't have, so if you enjoy a more crisp, crunchy feel with glossy plastic, maybe try this one out. Anyways guys, that's about it for our review. Check the link in the description if you'd like to purchase this puzzle. See you all in the next one. Bye.